Shortly before the U.S. announced its withdrawal from the Council, the international body denounced Washington's new policy on immigration control, which has seen children being separated from their parents. On Sunday, the investigative non-profit organization ProPublica published audio of what it claims were children crying in a detention facility run by U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
¿De dónde son ustedes? ¿Y tú?
Guatemala.
No llores. Vas a llegar con... Mira, ella te va a explicar y te va a ayudar. ¿Cierto, Consuelo?
¿Te va a pasar con su consulado hoy?
Papá.
And the audio has added fuel to the fire of ongoing criticism leveled at the new migration policy.
Congrats! The separation policy that you sold to your boss, Mr. Trump, will result in images that will crater you both. We will ensure you will never escape them. In your fascist zeal, you forgot that mothers are mothers first, regardless of their politics.
Trump has a monstrous policy of holding children hostage to build his unfeasible wall that he promised Mexico was going to pay for. His political negotiation tactic is to literally torture children who are trying to escape violence and abuse already.
What's happening to families at the border is horrific. Nursing infants being ripped away from their mothers, parents being told their toddlers are being taken to bathe or play, only to realize hours later they aren't coming back. This is a moral and humanitarian crisis.
Introduced in April, the so-called zero-tolerance policy on illegal border crossings means children whose parents are charged with illegal entry are separated from them and held at special facilities. Over the last 6 weeks alone, over 2,000 children have been placed inside those detention centers. Despite a public outcry, the White House has defended its tough stance on illegal immigration.
The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee-holding facility. It won't be.
This administration did not create a policy of separating families at the border. We have a statutory responsibility that we take seriously to protect alien children from human smuggling, trafficking, and other criminal actions while enforcing our immigration laws. We will separate those who claim to be a parent and child if we cannot determine a familiar or custodial relationship exists. Parents who entered illegally are, by definition, criminals. Illegal entry is a crime as determined by Congress. By entering our country illegally, often in dangerous circumstances, illegal immigrants have put their children at risk.
The law on separating children from parents charged with immigration offenses was actually in place during Obama's tenure, though its enforcement was much rarer back then. Earlier, my colleague Nadira Tudor got a reaction from both sides of the argument.
First of all, it's not true that all these people are arrested for just crossing the border. They're arrested for illegally crossing the border. There are points of entry where they could come and seek political asylum, but these people, if in fact they are families and not sex traffickers or others who come with children, elect to break the U.S. law by entering and crashing the border illegally.
Despite the fact that they're looking for a better life, surely they know the risks involved, and that might be that they are separated from their children if they go in illegally.
Even if they're doing it legally, which oftentimes is just the racism that you hear from people like Trump and people like my debate counterpart here. In the case of these people coming to the United States, it's not quite as simple as just having to meet specific points of entry. People are fleeing incredible violence, and they're coming here, to try to seek political asylum. And I don't understand how, in any way, that justifies taking their kids away and deporting the family. And we are seeing Trump take advantage of this and turn this into a twisted, sadistic kind of policy. and really fueling his political base.
Okay. I'm glad he's getting a speech in and called me a racist, which I'm not surprised. It doesn't anger me. I wouldn't expect anything else from a leftist who has no facts and throws out the racist word without even knowing who I am, and nothing I said was racist. But that aside, do you know there's a 300% increase in kids coming to this country presented with an adult who turn out to be sex traffickers or pedophiles or others who are not their parents? And by the way, I'm sure you were as outraged, sir, when Barack Obama did virtually the same thing. In fact, deported Mexican children back to Mexico without their parents' knowledge. Where was the outrage when that was going on? Where was the outrage when he sent children all over the country when they entered this country illegally with their parents? I didn't hear a peep out of people like you on the left. This is nothing more than an attempt to villainize Donald Trump. We're a country of laws. If these parents choose to put their kids at risk by breaking the law, they're going to suffer the consequences. And the American people are fine with that.
Not all Democrats are the same. There's plenty of criticism to give to what Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton at the State Department did to immigrants that were here. I have lived my entire life hearing the kind of rhetoric and dog whistles from racists like Donald Trump and yourself. I mean, I think what's happening now is all exposed.
Sir, you got a lot of nerve. I'd like to give me one example of how I'm a racist.
Well, the kind of narrative that you're creating to try to in the false acts that you're putting out there to kind of say that
really, all these should obey the law, that's racist?
You're using a very particular propaganda tool to try to create a generalization
obey the law.
that immigrants
Wow,
coming
that's
in
propaganda,
here.
all right. That is racist. Obey the law. Imagine that. Imagine that.
How about? Yeah, well, at one time people owned slaves, and that was the law as well. I'm sure there's plenty of people in this country like yourself that have
You diminish slavery.
To go back to the 1950s,
slavery, and you diminish real racism.